Welcome back to Never Done Ask with me, John Martin, and we are celebrating Railway 200 by counting down, or counting up, 200 landmarks in rail transport in the UK, and we're starting off with number 61. July 1869, little wonder, the first double fairley locomotive to be run on the Ffestiniog Railway arrived. These were double-engine locomotives with articulated power bulkheads that allowed all of the locomotive's weight to be over its driving wheels. The success of Small Wonder meant that Fairley gave the Ffestiniog permission to use its patent without restriction, which is why that railway is famous for them now. 7th of the 12th, 1869, the first train to run through the Thames Tunnel, 4 years after it was purchased by the East London Railway, a consortium of railway companies aimed at providing a link between the railways from the south and the City of London terminus at Liverpool Street. The line was transferred to the East London branch of the Metropolitan Railway in 1933. Around 1870, John Smith, yes him, one of them, maybe, produced his first automatic vacuum brake. Like Westinghouse, this brake automatically engaged with a fault in the system. Vacuums could be generated from steam locomotives without moving parts, but air brakes were slightly more efficient, and this led to different companies adopting different systems, and even some rolling stock getting built with both types of brakes. The 1st of 2nd, 1870, William Stroudley arrives as locomotive superintendent of the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway, following the idiosyncratic regime of John Chester Craven. Worked on standardising the company's fleet and produced a number of well-regarded designs, including the Gladstone Express locomotives and the Eteria suburban tanks. He was also notable for outshopping his locomotives in improved engine green, which was yellow. The 2nd of the 8th, 1870, the Tower Subway was opened under the Thames, a cable-hauled narrow-gauge railway. This was not a successful venture and closed within 4 months. Even its time as a pedestrian tunnel was limited, as the opening of Tower Bridge took away its custom. 1st of the 10th, 1871, saw the appointment of Francis Webb as the locomotive superintendent, basically the chief mechanical engineer, of the London and North Western Railway. And in time he would be referred to as the King of Crew. He produced many exceptional designs and many failures, many of which were overproduced due to him earning royalties from the patents. He's a controversial figure. He also dominated the town's political life with great acts of philanthropy and movements to crush any political opposition to the Tories within both the workforce and the town itself. 1st of the 10th, 1873, first sleeper coach ran on the West Coast Main Line all the way from Euston to Glasgow. In 1875, the Midland Railway abolished second class on all its trains, allowing them to improve the standards of first class coaches up to second class standard. The Midland, often unable to compete on speed with its rivals, concentrated on passenger comfort and experience. 21st of the 12th, 1875, the Brighton Works of London, Brighton and South Coast Railway outshot the Class A 060 tank engine Stepney to the design of William Stroudley. One of 50 built, these classes were reclassified as the A1 and later the reboarded one as the A1X. Known as Terriers, these diminutive engines were used on the suburban services around South London and through the Thames Tunnel. Known for their fast acceleration, these engines encouraged the growth of passengers that eventually made the trains too heavy for them to haul, so moving them to other places across the network such as the Isle of Wight. 1st to the 5th, 1876, the opening of the Settle and Carlisle line by the Midland Railway, one of the most scenic and loved lines in the country. This provided a link for the Midland Railway to Carlisle, and from there, via the Waverley route to Edinburgh. The curves and gradients on this route meant that the Midland could never compete with its rivals on speed, but it could on experience. 21st to the 10th, 1876, the Abbott Ripon rail disaster, 17 deaths and 59 injuries as a southbound Flying Scotsman hit a coal train that was then shunting. Then another express heading north hit the debris. The aftermath led to continuous brakes on express trains rather than just the guard in the brakes compartment and the locomotive brakes. 25th of the 6th, 1877, the opening of the current magnificent York Station. The old station, part of which is still visible on Tanner Row, was causing operational issues as trains from Newcastle to London had to change direction to carry on their journey in the dead-end station. November 1879, the Great Northern Railway introduced the first public dining car in Britain on the Leeds to London service, with Pullman cars on the Prince of Wales service. The catering was exclusively for first-class passengers. The 28th of the 12th, 1879, the Tay Bridge crash killed an estimated 75 people. Massive faults in design by Sir Thomas Booch and the manufacture of the bridge also led to plans for the fourth bridge being changed, as Booch was originally in charge of that design. It also led to one of the worst poems known to humanity being written. 8th of the 3rd, 1833, Ox's Electric Railway opened up in Brighton on the seafront and is the oldest electric railway still in use. Sometime in 1855, a drawing from Crewe Works of an artificial leg is created, and that ends up in the National Rail Museum's archives. Part of the London and North Western's drive for self-sufficiency was that the works produced artificial limbs for its disabled staff. In 1855 alone, 55 of the company's workers were killed and 398 were injured by moving trains. 14th of the 8th, 1888, the end of the first race to the north, where the East Coast companies competed with the West Coast companies to show who could run between London and Edinburgh the fastest. Over the past month, the East Coast express time of 9 hours and the West Coast of 10 hours reduced by hours. A conference in London agreed that the East Coast companies could have a minimum journey time of 7 3/4 hours and the West Coast to 8. 22nd of September 1888 was the first league match of Newton Heath, Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway FC, and they won at home to Darwin in front of 3,000 people. They played in the Combination, which was an alternative to the Football League. Newton Heath, Lancashire and Yorkshire was formed 10 years earlier by Lancashire and Yorkshire's Carriage and Wagon Department. The Motive Power Division of the works already had a team, Newton Heath Loco. Newton Heath, Lancashire and Yorkshire grew into Manchester United. Another team in the Combination that year were Derby Midland, the works team of the Midland Railway. However, that only lasted a decade. 4th of the 3rd, 1890, the opening of the Forth Rail Bridge. The North British Railway crossed the Firth of Forth, providing a rail link from the Scottish capital to Dundee and Aberdeen, and still stands as an icon of the industrial age and Victorian engineering. And number 80. On the 11th of the 4th, 1890, the City and South London Railway opened to the public, just over a month after Edward, Prince of Wales, officially opened it. The original line ran from Stockwell in South London under the Thames to King William Street in the City of London. This would, with some amendments, become part of the Northern Line. This was the first deep level tube line. The tunnels were only 3.2 metres in diameter, compared with 3.81 metres, which is the current standard for deep level tube lines. There, we've reached 80. Come back next time for will be the run up to the halfway mark celebrating Railway 200. Is there something that I missed out that you think I should have included? Please comment below. Please like, subscribe, please share this video. Please check out other videos on this channel. I'll be back next time with more landmarks from across the railway history of the UK.